Hello everyone and welcome back guys to a brand new video where today we're here back with round 9 of the F1 22 Haas Road to Glory. Yesterday we returned ready for the Canadian Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live over the weekend where we jumped into the Azerbaijan race, would definitely recommend going back and checking out. Of course, probably one of the weirdly most heartbreaking episodes we've done so far of this championship. But of course though, yeah, we return today back at the Canadian GP, you know, Baku, Canada, Silverstone, Austria, even the Castellet. We should hopefully now have another run of form of tracks that should really suit our car. But yeah, of course, a massive thank you as well to all of you guys for the continued support on the channel. At the time of recording, we're very close now to 74,000 subscribers. You know, again, I say it all the time, but you guys are just smashing it. You know, 80k right around the corner, 100k still the goal by the end of the year. So if you could help me get one step closer to that, it would be greatly appreciated there. Still got a lot of upgrades in the works at the moment. Unfortunately, one aero part has actually failed, so we need to try and get that sorted before next weekend when we head back to Silverstone. But yeah, though, championship-wise at the moment, Charles Leclerc still leads the way. They're 12 points ahead of Carlos Sainz. Max Verstappen still in P3. We're still trying to keep the gap close to Fernando Alonso overall in the Drivers' Championship, and of course trying to close down the gap to Alpine as well in the Constructors. 6 points and 5 points, the gap either way. But like I said, Canada should hopefully be a track that suits our car. Let's get into it then, here at Circuit Gio Villeneuve, ready with qualifying. Before we jump into that though, I just wanted to let you know of a brilliant competition going on hosted by Imperium Experiences. Have you ever wanted to attend the Italian Grand Prix? Yes, the home of Ferrari, the Temple of Speed, and of course the mighty Tifosi. Imperium Experiences are offering you the chance to win 2 tickets for the weekend and a 3-night stay at a 4-star hotel. All you have to do is enter their competition on their site linked down below in the description or my bio, and you could be off out to Monza. The competition is limited to just 900 entries, however, and closes on the 6th of August, so make sure if you want to get involved to do it as soon as possible. Currently, they're also offering an extra promotion where if you buy 2 entries, you get a 3rd completely free, increasing your chances to win at an incredibly cheap price. They even have a handy guide on their site on how to enter, so I would definitely recommend checking it out, and a massive thank you to them for sponsoring this video. Right, well here we are then, qualifying day from Circuit Gio Villeneuve. Like I said, this track I feel should suit the Haas car once again rather nicely, but I guess the only real issue, just like we struggled with back in Baku last weekend, of course, is just how much wheel spin you get, you know, how much this thing still struggles for low-end traction. You know, it's incredibly slippery. That's really the best way to describe this Haas car. You know, cuts through the air like a knife through warm butter, but yeah, it also tries to glide along butter, like a hot knife on. I've butchered that metaphor, but you know what I mean. It really does struggle low speed still. It kind of just skates around the place a lot more than the My Team car or any other car I really drive on F1 22. But local boy Lance Stroll immediately sets the pace on a 12th lap. This first lap is basically a write-off. Yeah, still just struggling to get the car quite dialed in exactly where I want it with the confidence I need. Up towards the line then, Lando Norris, an 11.0. I already do it, sorry, a 10.7 even that was. I do an 11.8 there, so nowhere near where we need to be. There's probably close to another second on that lap, as I apologise to Bottas. Yeah, if ever we needed proof in Formula 1 that I hadn't done a particularly good qualifying lap, the fact we're slower than Nicholas Latifi is normally quite a good sign there, as that is a lot of curb to set ourselves up for our second run here in qualifying. But yeah, mixed down in towards the mid-10s. So I think if this lap we can try and dial it in, you know, if we could get a mid-10, I'd be incredibly happy. But if we can be looking below the 11s, that will be rather nice. Whoa! Or we'll do that, apparently. That's what I mean about low-end traction. You need it in at least 4th gear to really put the power down. Lucky we didn't rip a wheel off. And luckily, of course, on F1 22, you get 4 sets of soft compound tyres. And where Canada's quite a short track, you can actually try and use them if you need to. They're out of the final corner, up to the start-finish line. Let's see now if we can try and dial a lap in. But I mean, if we don't improve by much, or we make another big mistake, we may as well just abandon it and get ready for our final run in qualifying. There is green already through the first couple of corners. Always struggle to put the power down at turn 2 to try and head up the hill there. What is wrong with me? What's wrong with me on these qualifying laps at the moment? The new patch, there's just no grip whatsoever. I kick-started in my final lap of qualifying here from Montreal. Nice first sector, putting us about 3/4 of a second up there. But of course we did make a bit of a blunder on my previous lap. But of course track's getting quicker as well, so that will massively help us as we head on this final lap there. Again, much tidier run as we head down through the next chicane there. Of course, last time, yeah, we were still in the dirty air of Lando Norris, but no such luck this time round as we head out of the hairpin already. Oh, that's what I mean, though, about the traction still struggling as the car tries to break free in 5th gear there as we head down the back straightaway. Charles Leclerc goes even faster onto 109.5. What is the time going to be from ourselves? Way too deep on the way in. It's going to compromise my run on the exit. We are still going to improve by about a second. It's P16.
With qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves once again of our top 3, Leclerc, Russell and Carlos Sainz. With qualifying wrapped up now, we have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race.
Well, there we go then. Charles Leclerc on the pole ahead of George Russell and Carlos Sainz there. Mercedes, yeah, really in Ferrari's territory early on this weekend. Red Bull lock out the 3rd row, though, ahead of Bottas and Daniel Ricciardo. Mick only ended up P11 there, and we were, what, 3/10 away from Mick Schumacher there. So really not a qualifying session to be proud of, but could have been a whole lot worse. I guess we're just going to have to try and recover places in the Grand Prix. Alpine are looking strong, Ocon up in P9, but yeah, a qualifying session to forget though for us. Let's get into it then here for the Canadian Grand Prix. This channel is proudly sponsored by Bybit, the official crypto partner of Red Bull's Formula 1 team. I've been using their platform for my personal crypto savings over the last few months, and when they got in touch to support the channel, I was super excited. Currently, they're offering you guys a special new promo for the first 100 of you to deposit $10 or more onto the platform. You'll get another $10 free. Also, 5 lucky winners will get their initial deposit doubled up to $1,000. That means if you deposited $1,000 onto the platform using my codes below, you could be within a chance to get another $1,000 completely free. We've seen the landscape around crypto drastically change over the last couple of years, and I genuinely believe it holds an important place in our future. However, please be careful as always when trading, as you are liable to lose money. But if you're interested and you're 18 or older, click the link down below to get started and see why Red Bull and myself, as well as thousands of others, trust Bybit as their crypto.
Hello and welcome to the Ile Notre Dame once again for what promises to be another incredible Canadian Grand Prix at this fiercely competitive circuit, where pole position can often be decided by less than 1/10 of a second. We'll be seeing top speeds of around 210 miles per hour here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, with around 2/3 of the lap taken at full throttle. High-speed chicanes spell potential danger, especially at the infamous Wall of Champions, and watch out for overtaking into the hairpin and that final chicane. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and starting next to them is George Russell. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Hamilton, Sergio Perez and Verstappen, Bottas, Ricciardo, Ocon and Lando Norris, Mick Schumacher, Joe, Fernando Alonso and Tsunoda, Mr. Monaco, Vettel, Alex Albon and Lance Stroll. Latifi and Pierre Gasly picks up the final grid slot. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? And a warm welcome to Natalie Pinkham, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Let's talk about Mr. Monaco. That was a solid result in the last race. Can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
It's always nice to come into a Grand Prix weekend on a high, but your expectations are based much more on your practice and qualifying runs. So it's the momentum from those sessions that they'll be hoping to carry into the race today.
Okay, now that we've got some good points on the board, let's continue this form and aim for another top 10 finish.
Right, here we are then, on the grid, ready for the Canadian GP. We have been moved up to P15 by virtue of Pierre Gasly starting with some penalties here, but rain predicted later on in the afternoon, so we'll have to wait and see as to how things go with that. Might get a little bit treacherous towards the end of the Grand Prix here, but yeah, really, really looking forward to it here back at the Canadian GP. Always love coming back to Montreal, but yeah, if qualifying's anything to go by, we might be set to struggle a bit today. Safe to say the new patch has made things interesting on F1 22. Didn't really notice it much in the race we did at Imola yesterday. That was actually the first race I've done on the new patch, but today, yeah, certainly struggling and noticing it a lot more in the Haas car. But, you know, we've got to get on with it. We've got to grit our teeth, just bear the pain, try to learn what we can as well there. Mick Schumacher starting 2 rows in front. We got the Alpine of Alonso right between us. Fingers crossed we can outscore Fernando today and continue our charge for P4 in the Constructors. Right, well, Charles Leclerc then leads us away from pole position and tries to line himself up on the grid. I've worked really hard on this lap to make sure we've got temperature in both the fronts and, of course, yeah, far more importantly for the launch, the rear tyres. It's going to keep doing burnouts in the Haas. Only the green score this time round. Not brilliant there. Took a bit too much speed on the way, and you kind of want to coast along at sort of 8 to 10 miles an hour, 10 to 15 kph. But, yeah, as cars behind me line up on the grid, then here we are. Canadian Grand Prix, 5 red lights. And it is going to be lights out, and away we go. Oh, not good. Not good at all there. Not that I'm surprised by that one. Bit! Sorry, Seb. Oh, we're on the MGUK, but somehow now we're finding our way around the outside there. Clean around the outside of Sonoda as we put the power down out of turn 2. So that actually wasn't too bad off the launch of Schumacher, trying to keep Fernando Alonso. A Beizhou Guan Yu's going to feel a bit tripped up behind them. And we will try and sneak past the Haas car there. As up the inside of the Alpine we go. This has actually ended up working out quite nicely for us off the start here in Canada. As Alonso, fair racing from the wily old Spaniard there. We do try and get a run right around the outside though as we head down the next straightaways. Both Red Bulls side by side. What is going on early on here in Canada? As you can see, Ferrari, Mercedes at the front. Lando Norris trying to make moves there as he goes past Ocon. We get boxed in behind Mick. Is Alonso going to try and get the job on both Haas cars down at the hairpin? But very, very dramatic scenes then at the start of the Canadian Grand Prix. But we have made progress up into P13 there as here goes Alonso once more around the outside of Mick Schumacher down in towards the final couple of turns. Let's just see who can come out on top in this situation. It's going to be me. Thank you very much. We'll have both places there. Up into P11 then by the end of lap 1. Read that one like a book through the final chicane there. Might have taken a little bit too much curb, but I was too busy worried about where the front wing was in comparison to those other cars there. But up into P11 then by the end of lap 1. So really, yeah, one of my better starts on F1 22. Let's just keep up the progress and try and close up now to Esteban Ocon as we try and get the car dialed in. Yeah, just trying to keep inside the DRS of Esteban Ocon early on then in this Grand Prix. But I think, yeah, you can just see everyone winding their through the first couple of turns. Red Bull now definitely up in the ante, trying to get a bit closer to the Mercedes cars again. As Valtteri Bottas, you know, Alfa Romeo have comfortably on paper had the fourth fastest car early on this year, but just haven't been able to utilise it. I completely get, you know, Zhou Guan Yu's a rookie. He's probably going to be struggling a little bit more there, but it has been quite surprising to see Bottas not delivering where we'd expect him to, as both McLarens as well up inside the top 10. Of course, they're still last overall in the Constructors' Championship, mainly thanks to the glitch back in Imola. Of course, that meant that everyone pretty much scored points apart from them, and big points it was as well, of course, for a lot of the back markers. But yeah, just struggling to keep in touch with Ocon early on in this race, but I feel like Mick and I are going to have to work together to make sure we don't end up under too much pressure from the cars behind. But I definitely want points here. I felt like this track would be stronger for us. like I said, just new patch, really struggling. Well, I don't want to speak too soon, but we have started bringing the gap back down slightly to Esteban Ocon in front of me. Of course, it's that big gamble of if you use a bit more DRS to try and close in. If you get there, wonderful. If not, then you're in a world of hurt, as that is not the line through the final chicane. They're almost put themselves in the wall of champions, but certainly lost momentum off the exit of the corner. But yeah, just really working it. I want to try and get latched onto this train in front, because it is definitely dragging Ocon further up the road than I would like him to be. Well, it doesn't happen often on F1 22, but apparently I have not jinxed myself here. As you can see, one of the Ferraris into the pits at just the end of lap 7. That seems rather early to be making a call onto fresh tyres there. It's Carlos Sainz, so I'm guessing he's 2 stopping then? I mean, to be fair, Canada, one of the shorter pit lanes on the F1 circuit, but yeah, now up inside the top 10 then of the Grand Prix. Ocon's dropped out of the DRS from Ricciardo and Lando Norris just up the road there, as it really does seem like McLaren finally this weekend getting back to where you'd expect them to be fighting in Formula 1. You know, I never thought this would sort of be a battle between Haas and Alpine for P4 overall, with McLaren nowhere to be seen, but yeah, let's just keep the focus up then. Of course, now it means we can try and recuperate a little bit of ERS, and of course, yeah, Mick Schumacher, he might still just be within the range of me. I think Ocon is the one struggling here. Not that we've found much, as we've got yellow flags out. I think that is... Oh, no, it's Mick! No, Mick Schumacher out of the Canadian Grand Prix there. Another power unit failure for our teammate. And just as I was starting to hype him up, you know, maybe more points were going to be on the horizon today, it goes up literally in smoke for Mick Schumacher. And now we are a one Haas army once more. Oh no, Carlos Sainz has now jumped back up into P11 then of this Grand Prix. So the Spaniard not far behind me, as no one else still yet to box in this race. So not really sure, yeah, what Ferrari are playing at with that strategy call. But at least Sainz, you know, he's going to make the afternoon interesting for himself. And I don't think it's going to be long before he tries to push his way past myself. But yeah, still just sat all over Esteban Ocon's gearbox in this Grand Prix though. Let's see. I mean, we're kind of just sticking with him at the moment. I'm not really trying to apply too much pressure to the young Frenchman. We're just kind of working out where he's strong, where he isn't, and kind of not worrying about it too much early on. You know, there's a long way to go here, and I can't help but feel like we're going to have to nurse the tyres if I'm struggling so much on traction, as both of us there got our own separate moments as we head out down the back straight. I might actually now try and make a move work. Team just starting to warn me about the tyres then in this Grand Prix, as yeah, I do definitely think I want to be past Ocon by the time we box here, as you just see starting to understeer a little bit more through the front tyres. Now, a lot of people have complained about chronic understeer on the new patch. I haven't found it to be that bad, but I am definitely noticing a lot more of the quirks others have moaned about in the Haas more than I did in the 2-1-2 Motorsport car. Oh, here we go. Here comes Carlos Sainz though, as we head down in towards the hairpin. I didn't feel like I'd moved my braking line there. I can't help but feel we met somewhere in the middle. But yeah, the Spaniard really wants to try and get past me. And of course, yeah, Haas don't really want to upset the big brother, but I think we have kind of done so in that moment, as I definitely still want to try and move past Ocon. But yeah, Sainz, if you want to get past me, mate, try and get past me. As now, I might have just said that. Nope, again, Sainz trips over me as we head out the final corner, and now I've got no battery. What's going on? Only a couple of laps though before we pit. Luckily, of course, yeah, the only sort of upside of Mick retiring is, of course, now we don't have to worry about when he wanted to box. Oh, here comes Sainz again then. Like I said, I really don't want to fight the Spaniard all too long in this GP. So he's going to try and look around the outside down at the hairpin, but it's definitely compromising me now as we try and hang close to Esteban Ocon. There goes Sainz again. Come on, man, just make the move work if you're going to go for it. At least use some battery. I don't want to be side by side down towards the final chicane. So frustrating there that Sainz will just sit on the inside rather than complete the move and actually gun for it there. But we do slot him back behind him. Zhou Guan Yu a little bit further back now, but back outside the points. Hopefully only briefly, as we'll try and use Sainz to piggyback our way past Ocon. So here we go. Sainz trying the outside of Ocon then. So clearly he's making a hash of both moves. As are we going to be able to do what we did on lap 1 there? We might just be able to get the run. I don't actually want to get past Sainz. I'd rather have the DRS with 3 wide down in towards the hairpin. What on earth is going on here? in Montreal, as I wanted to try and go for the switchback on the pair of them. Sainz will now move up into P9 of the Grand Prix. Who will have the DRS here? I think it's Ocon and myself there. So Ocon now going to try and fly back around the outside of Carlos in towards the final corner. What on earth is happening here in Montreal? This is a brilliant, unexpected three-wide battle between the Ferrari, the Alpine and the Haas car. But here goes Sainz again. No, he's not going to be able to do anything back down towards turn 1. Team want me in end of this one. We're probably going to have to extend one further. But it's all kicking off. Oh! Ocon, big mistake there down at the end of the straight. That means Sainz and I both almost ran into the back of him there. I think we all got away with it. Surely Sainz now going to be able to get a run on Ocon. So we head down the back straight away. Really, yeah, starting to struggle a bit more with the understeer. As you can see, all of this has allowed Zhou Guanyu very quickly just to rejoin the fray. But yeah, will Sainz now get the run on Ocon down in towards the final corner? He's gaining on him, but not by that much by the time we slam on the anchors. So we head through the final chicane once more. Will now Sainz get the run on Ocon as Ricciardo and a handful of others into the pit lane? We're going to have to box the end of this one, but Ocon's still hanging out there as well. We just need Sainz to get past him. End of lap 16 now, all over the back of Sainz and Ocon here. I was kind of hoping Sainz would get a run on Ocon down in towards the final chicane, but we're now going to have to send it on the Spaniards. Make sure we get the car just about slowed down on pit lane entry there. We've got Zhou Guanyu not far behind either, as there goes Lando Norris in this race. But good, clean, tidy stop, absolute requirement from the team. 2.3, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, we've rejoined into Esteban Ocon. I think that would certainly be a 5-second penalty in real life, but got to try and get heat into the rubber. Cannot afford to get out the 1 second zone, as that might immediately, that's going to pretty much already force us into a world of hurt then here in Montreal. Just almost Yuki Tsunoda'd it as we went out of the pit lane there, but somehow we hang on. But already 2 seconds back from Esteban Ocon. We're going to have to work really hard now to try and close back up that gap if we want any points. I guess the good thing is, of course, we did know we had the pace over Ocon when he didn't have DRS. But of course, the only other real question today is, of course, is whether that rain is still going to arrive. We're at half distance. It's still looking incredibly sunny. There is nothing ominous around this circuit, but things can change very quickly in Canada. I'm amazed it hasn't snowed. Got to be careful I don't chew through too much of the tyres early on, though, in this second stint. But slowly closing down that gap to Esteban Ocon still at the moment. I'm down under briefly 1.7 seconds there. He always seems to get good traction out of the hairpin. But we are taking a good 3/10 out of him each and every lap. So nice to know we have got the pace. As in comes Carlos Sainz again. He should be ahead of us, but interesting to see by how much. Again, really launch it through that final chicane. They get right up towards the wall of champions. Should be able to see Sainz. There we go. The Scarlet Ferrari poke its head out through turn 1. Poke its nose, really, I should say, or front wing. But yeah, Sainz 3 seconds up the road. He should still recover the 6th place here in what is, of course, the Ferrari master plan. But yeah, we're just trying to close up. We want a point here. That's the goal, a bit like Monaco. 2 very, very different circuits, but yeah, McLaren really up in the ante this weekend. Bottas back to where you'd expect him to be has meant that, yeah, really 1 point is probably all we can sensibly hope for. So there we go. First time back inside the DRS range of Esteban Ocon, but definitely feeling a lot more confident now, because I think looking at it on paper, the gaps from McLaren should be coming down as well. I think they're battling each other, which is certainly making that gap come down a whole lot quicker than it was. But I've said it many times before on F122. Get this Haas car later on in the Grand Prix. Second set of tyres, the fuel starts to burn off. This thing gets really racy, really punchy. And of course, I'm just getting more and more used to it and more confident. So yeah, I definitely don't want to sit behind Ocon for all too long in the second half of this race. Yeah, the gap to the McLarens must have come down by a good 2-3 seconds as well since I pit. So, I mean, if we can get past Ocon, it's going to be difficult, but I'm not saying it would be impossible to close up to those other cars, but you just get back inside the dirty air. And of course, yeah, now with the slight tweaks, it definitely feels like the dirty air has a bigger effect than it did. And I just get close to Ocon, can't get the run out the final corner, and just drop back again. I just can't seem to get close enough to Ocon where I need to at the moment, as Lando Norris has now been jumped by Carlos Sainz, but this is the closest I've been. And you just see, trying to put the power down out of the hairpin, Ocon easily just gaps me by a couple of tenths there. We just can't quite seem to get the line. He's still really struggling on battery usage as well. You can see gaining as we head down in towards the final chicane there. Hit our marks rather nicely that time around. That's probably one of the best runs I've had through the hairpin. But the Alpine, of course, again, very much like the Haas, incredibly slippery down the straights. But this thing just does not like dirty air still. That's the big issue I feel like at the moment. We need all these aero upgrades coming. I mean, this is the closest we've been all afternoon so far as we head back down towards the hairpin. 9 laps to go here in Montreal, and you can just see there, try and get the power down. Nice and tidy. Off the corner. No, still we can't do it at the moment. Esteban Ocon just seems to be able to put the power down that little bit better than me. And if you rattle it up against that curbing, you're never going to stand a chance. Out towards the final chicane there, as again, you can just see really attacking the curbs on the way through. But I know we can do this. It just seems to be taking far too long there, and I think at the moment it also means any slim hope of trying to get past Lando Norris is going up. Right, all we need is good traction out of the hairpin here. I'm so tempted, if we get desperate, I'm just going to send it on Ocon through the hairpin, but you just see. Team's still saying rain in 10 to 15 minutes there, so it is going to be either in the dying laps or just as the race comes to a close. It's only 7 laps remaining now. Oh, so we've got yellow flags out. Someone's got issues up the road. Is that Carlos Sainz there going slowly? It might well be, or has he just had a small issue? I don't know what's going on, but we need to get past Ocon. I want to try and get close to Lando and Carlos still by the end. I mean, it's highly likely Sainz will just romp away from me, but yes, something is happening there, and we can't do anything about it because I just can't move past Ocon. Ocon just starting to struggle a little bit more. We might now get the opportunity around the outside of the Alpine down in towards the chicane there, and just about. It was never where I expected the move to be made, but we've absolutely pulled it off there. Just took one mistake from Esteban there. Just couldn't quite put the power down, but now he's going to have the DRS on myself, and we have barely got any battery to defend ourselves with, and a run like that of the hairpin is going to do me no favours either. We're going to have to drain the battery this time round as we head down the back straight. But yeah, Esteban Ocon still looking feisty here as Sainz and Lando Norris up the road. Still battling it out. I don't want to say it's over, but 5 laps to go. If they continue to go side by side, there's certainly an opportunity. I mean, this is exactly what I'm talking about. Lando Norris and Carlos Sainz, neither of them willing to give up on P8 in this Grand Prix there, and it could really work into my hands as they go side by side again down in towards the final chicane there. And just look at the time we're closing in. Already in 1 lap, the gap's halved. It's come down by near enough 2 seconds here. And as long as Lando stays ahead, oh, there we go, big lockup from Lando Norris back at turn 1. Sainz going to try and clean sweep the way around the outside there. But now we're right within the range of the McLaren here. He's still going to be trying to apply pressure to the Ferrari, but if I could get close, maybe we could ruin Lando Norris's P9 and gain ourselves an extra point. What really has happened there is Lando Norris has done a valiant effort defending his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. Of course, Danny Rick last still in the Drivers' Championship with just a single point to his name. McLaren, of course, yeah, like we said, still last overall in the Constructors' Championship. I've got no doubt they will recover and beat out the likes of Aston Martin and Williams, but yeah, Lando might just have massively helped his teammate there, maybe get the team an extra couple of points here, but 3 laps, or 2 and a bit laps to go now of the Grand Prix. You can see Lando Norris really now sliding around as he went through the chicane. Down in towards the hairpin we go, though. He's lost the DRS now to Sainz, but it took us so long to get past Ocon. How long is it going to take us to try and work our way around the McLaren? We've only got 2 more laps to do it. Right, final lap then here from Canada, and we are still all over the back of Lando Norris at the moment. Definitely doesn't feel like the McLaren has got the same sort of top-end speed as the Alpine did, so if we can just save a bit of battery around this lap, maybe we can make something happen down in towards the final chicane there. But it wasn't actually well, we made the move work on Esteban Ocon. Of course, it was after he made a bit of a mistake. We got to run down the middle straight away on the circuit, but yeah, just trying to hang close to Lando Norris. Tyres definitely starting to give up the ghost as well. There is big snap as we head out down the straightaway. There, we're going to be a little bit further back than I would have wanted. Charles Leclerc is going to come through and massively extend his lead in the championship over Carlos Sainz, but I'm not sure we're going to have enough unless we get a monumental run out of the hairpin there. Big brave on the way in, but that's going to compromise my run off the corner there, as we're going to completely drain the battery as we head down in towards the final corners. But Lando Norris and McLaren, I think they're only just going to run enough at the end of the race there. But we needed to beat Alpine. That was the big goal today. As we head through the final chicane, they rattle over the curbs up towards the line. It's P10. We close up the gap just a little bit more.
All right, race over. Take care of the car on the way in.
They take the checkered flag then here in Canada in what has been another fabulous Grand Prix. So Natalie, what do you think helped them deliver this result?
I'd say it was down once again to good, consistent driving, nailing the corners, working to the track conditions and perfecting the team strategies. They got all those things right today, and the results speak for themselves.
Here come our winners now, a thrilling race and a tremendous effort by Ferrari. Their history is well known, so it's no surprise to fans the world over to see them come out on top once again. Let's have a look then at the driver's standings. Charles Leclerc, currently leading the championship standings, extends his lead even further with this result. Let's focus on the driver of the day. Natalie Pinkham, come on, who do you pick?
Carlos Sainz would be my first choice for this race. He had excellent race stamina, giving him the opportunity to charge through the ranks.
It's time to check out the constructors' standings. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport action. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
Well, there we are then, the end of the Canadian Grand Prix there, and despite all the trials and tribulations in qualifying, we do recover nicely to P10, but can't help but feel, had things gone our way there, P9 was certainly possible. Charles Leclerc, though, wins the Canadian Grand Prix to extend the gap over his teammate Sainz there. Perez and Russell rounding out the podium there, so rather surprised to see both Hamilton and Verstappen behind their teammates. Bottas, a very good recovery for Alfa Romeo, and like we said, Ricciardo, big points for him, as well as Lando Norris there to help Alpine. Further down the order, I think it was just Mick who didn't make it through to the checkered flag there. Gasly, both Williams, ended up one lap down. That means championship-wise, George Russell jumps Alonso and myself there. Yeah, really, I mean, it should have always been a battle for P7 between myself and Fernando there, but the gap between us two down to just 4 points there. Bottas leapfrogs his way up into P10 ahead of Ocon, Mick and Pierre there, as, yeah, you can see Lando Norris now ahead of Nicholas Latifi. Everyone this season now has at least 7 points, which is kind of mind-blowing when you think about it there. Constructors-wise, though, Ferrari still 100 points clear at the top. Red Bull still P2 ahead of Mercedes there. Like we said, the gap to Alpine has come down this weekend there. The gap now down to just 5 points. But Alfa Romeo, you know, we've got to be careful of them. Now just 19 points back as well there. AlphaTauri in 7th ahead of Williams. Aston Martin there, and McLaren still down in last place despite that double points haul. But thank you all so much for watching this video. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed as well, and we will return very, very soon with more F1 22 content. None of these videos would be possible without the help of our channel members, so a massive thank you to all of the names you see on your screens currently for helping support the channel. You can join them by clicking the join button down below, and yeah, thank you once again to everyone that continues all the insane support on my work.